Logic and reasoning, why they prevent total perception. Among all the tools available to human beings, none is held in higher regard than logic and reasoning. We trust logic in science. We trust logic in law. We trust logic in politics. We trust logic in everyday decision-making. In fact, many people consider logic to be the ultimate test of truth. Whenever discussions move towards spirituality, religion, consciousness, or the deeper mysteries of existence, logical questions immediately arise.
If God created everything, then who created God?
If God is all-powerful, why is there suffering in the world?
If there is justice in the universe, why do innocent children die while criminals prosper?
Such questions are considered powerful because they appear logical. For many people, once an argument appears logical, the debate is over. Logic becomes the final judge. But should it? Can logic really answer every question? Can a tool designed to compare opposites fully understand a reality that may not be divided into opposites at all? The purpose of this discussion is not to reject logic. Logic is an extraordinary tool. The question is whether it is sufficient. Can logic reveal the whole truth? Or does it reveal only a small portion of reality? To understand why total perception remains elusive, we must first understand the limitations of our dependence on logic. Chapter 1. The black and white nature of logic. Logic works through distinctions: true or false, right or wrong, success or failure. Reality, however, is rarely so simple. Reality exists in gradients, spectrums, probabilities, and countless shades between extremes. The moment we force reality into rigid categories, we begin losing information. Logic gives clarity, but often at the cost of completeness. Total perception requires seeing not only the extremes, but also everything that exists between them. Chapter 2. The love-hate mistake. One of the most common logical errors appears in human relationships. When love fails, people often move toward hatred. It appears logical. If love is one pole, hatred must be the opposite. But this reasoning overlooks something important. Hatred is not freedom from love. Hatred is continued attachment. The hated person still occupies your thoughts, emotions, and memories. The true opposite of loving someone is not hatred. It is simply not loving. The difference is profound. One keeps the bond alive. The other dissolves it completely. This illustrates how logic often mistakes one extreme for the true opposite. Chapter 3. When logic encounters paradox. Logic performs beautifully within well-defined boundaries. But reality occasionally presents situations that break those boundaries. Consider the statement, "I always lie." If the statement is true, it becomes false. If it is false, it becomes true. Logic becomes trapped. Or consider a person saying, "I am humble." The statement is logically valid. Yet genuine humility disappears the moment it is proudly declared. These examples reveal something important. Logical consistency does not always guarantee truth. Reality contains paradoxes that cannot be captured through simple logical structures. Chapter 4. The Oppression Reversal Trap. Throughout history, many groups have suffered oppression. When people see justice, logic often suggests that the opposite condition must be the solution. If one group dominated another, then reversing the roles may appear fair. But this merely changes the direction of oppression. The true opposite of oppression is not reverse oppression. It is the complete absence of oppression. Many social conflicts persist because people confuse opposition with resolution. Reality often offers possibilities beyond the two poles imagined by logic. Chapter 5. The Danger of Labels. The logical mind is uncomfortable with uncertainty. It prefers conclusions. One lie becomes liar. One mistake becomes failure. One photograph becomes a complete description of someone's character. A small fragment is treated as the whole truth. Reality is rarely that simple. Human beings are far too complex to be reduced to a single incident. Total perception requires resisting the temptation to label people based on incomplete information. Chapter 6. Assumptions hidden inside logic. The mind constantly inserts assumptions into situations. Ask someone, name a month that contains 29 days. Many people search for February. They fail to notice that every month contains at least 29 days. The logical mind unconsciously adds restrictions that were never stated. The same thing happens in politics, relationships, and public debates. We see a small piece of information and imagine that we possess the complete picture. Often, our conclusions tell us more about our assumptions than about reality itself. Chapter 7. The False Comfort of Rationalization. Human beings dislike being blamed. Whenever mistakes are pointed out, the mind searches for escape routes. A child says, "Others didn't do their homework either." A political supporter says, "What about the mistakes of the other side?" The issue is quietly shifted elsewhere. The purpose is no longer understanding. The purpose becomes self-defense. Logic is used not to discover truth, but to avoid discomfort. This habit blocks total perception because attention moves away from what is actually being examined. Chapter 8. The Missing Gray Areas. The logical mind wants certainty. It wants complete heroes and complete villains, complete truth and complete falsehood. But reality contains endless shades of gray. Someone can be mostly honest and occasionally dishonest. Someone can be intelligent and still make foolish decisions. Someone can be kind and yet deeply flawed. A mind seeking total perception must become comfortable with ambiguity and complexity. Chapter 9. Cause, Effect, and the Loss of Wonder. Human beings constantly ask why. Why did this happen? What caused that? Who is responsible? This search has enormous practical value. Science itself depends on it. Yet there is a hidden cost. When every experience becomes an investigation, we stop experiencing it directly. When it rains, we search for explanations. Rarely do we simply watch the rain. When we are busy explaining life, we may fail to live it. Total perception requires not only understanding reality, but also experiencing it. Chapter 10. The Great Paradox. Some truths appear illogical. An intelligent person is not someone who knows everything. An intelligent person is someone who knows how much he does not know. Peace is not the absence of disturbance. Peace begins with awareness of disturbance. Mindfulness is not the absence of distraction. Mindfulness begins with awareness of distraction. Reality often reveals itself through paradox rather than through straightforward logic. The more deeply we understand this, the more open we become to total perception. Conclusion. Logic as a tool, not a master. Logic is one of humanity's greatest achievements. Without it, science, technology, and civilization would be impossible. The problem begins only when we mistake logic for reality itself. A total perception of reality becomes possible only when we can use logic without becoming imprisoned by it. The moment we stop forcing reality into black and white categories, we begin to perceive the countless shades that were always present. And perhaps that is where true understanding begins.